Okay. Thanks for staying on for the bonus round, Ruth. How was that? Was that fun?
I'm scared now.
Oh, no, you'll be fine. Well, here's an easy one to kick things off. When you have to Uber in or go out to a restaurant, what's your go-to order?
Usually Indian.
Yeah, there
good
you
old
go.
curry.
And in particular, any curry? Massaman or the...
Yeah, no, I'm pretty...
No, actually, that's Thai, isn't it?
Yes. No,
Thai's
I'm
massaman.
Look, put a curry in front of me and I'm a happy girl.
Does the Indian here in Australia compare to the Indian in England?
No.
I've heard the best Indian in the world is in England and not even in India.
It is. And, you know, my husband and I are from England.
Yeah.
And so we used to go, this is before kids, so I will say that, once or twice a week we'd go out to an Indian restaurant.
Oh, come on.
Once or twice a week. When we came to Australia, we had to do a bit of hunting.
Gosh, that must have been probably the
So,
greatest sacrifice you made.
And you know what? We went back to England 14 years. Took us 14 years to go back to a visit.
Are you kidding
And the
me?
first night we went back to our favourite Indian restaurant.
It was still there.
It was still there. And we were just like, they probably didn't know what was going on because we were just so excited. We were like, yes. They had no idea. Anyway, it clearly showed something, and I thought they thought we were celebrating something. And we said to them, we haven't been here for 14 years and we've come all the way from Australia and this is where we wanted to eat first. And they were so lovely and they gave us some free food. And
my goodness.
And so,
How if only they could like branch out to the Gold Coast, right?
I know. I just miss that place so much.
Oh. What's something you're curious about at the moment? What's just piqued your curiosity?
Curious.
It could be anything. It could be something serious. It could be something trivial.
Yeah. I'm really curious about my daughter, and my daughter is so like me, and you know, you've got kids, right?
Yeah.
You start to watch them, and you start to go, oh my gosh, you know, like that, I could see myself.
She probably
in
wouldn't
that.
want to hear that. She'd be like, "No, Mum, I'm nothing like you."
But I'm trying to instill, you know, things that I value and things that, you know, that I want for her, not for me. I'm not like, you got to be like me. I'm not. I want her to carve her own uniqueness and to really find that. But I asked her the other day, I said, you know, what do you want to be when you grow up, Abby? You know? And she said, I want to be a famous philanthropist.
Wow.
And I was like,
I didn't even know what a
thank you.
philanthropist was till I was like 35.
But she wants to be a famous one. That's what I'm like so excited. So we're working on that. I'm curious about how we can, how she and how we can help her be a famous philanthropist.
How awesome. Come on. Being curious about your kids. I love that. What would you have told yourself when you first got on that plane to India that you know now?
Gosh. I don't know, because, you know, I think as I've got older, I've actually more appreciated, you know, just enjoying the moment, enjoying the here and now, what I'm doing right now, because I don't know what the effect this is going to happen. Someone might listen to this and it might change their life, or, you know, I might walk out of here and something happen. You know, like I think that when I was younger, I was trying to control life too much. I was trying to, like, I really felt like I needed to know what was I going to do and where was I going to do, you know, what career was I going to have. And, you know, I was so stressed about me working out what the future looked like. And I think now I've realised that it's okay. Like, it's all going to be fine. Like, it's going to be twists and turns, and you're going to meet people that you don't know who you're going to meet, like, just around the corner. And, you know, and I think that if I had the opportunity to talk to myself, I'd say, just enjoy it. Just go with it, you know.
Wow.
Enjoy every moment, because even those challenging times when you go, what the heck? Why am I here? What am I doing? Is this part of my plan? It doesn't matter because it'll all work out. There'll be someone who will encourage you, inspire you, give you an opportunity. I want to just say a big shout out to my very first manager who gave me that first job at the homeless centre, Jo Isaac. I was young, I was inexperienced, and you know what? She gave me that opportunity, and look at where I am today because of that opportunity. And I would have never foreseen that happening. I was dead set on becoming a nurse and going, and I got this plan all worked out, and then suddenly, woo, I took a left turn.
Yes.
And it was because of someone like Jo Isaac who said I see potential in you, and I believe you, and I believe in you. And that's all it takes. So just enjoy the moment, get to know people, build relationships, network, just do the best you can right now and just, enjoy.
Incredible advice. Is there anything I didn't ask you in the podcast that I should have asked you? Is there anywhere we could have gone more and talked about more? No. Okay. Well, how about this one? Who is, for you, someone you look up to? Who's someone that has inspired you? Who's been a hero for you?
Yeah, there's so many people. So many people inspire me, just from students I meet. You're one of them. You're one of them. You are. People who inspire me, who go and do things that I go, wow, I could never do that. That's why I was actually following your story way back when you were out in Iraq. Yes, it is.
That's how it all began.
Yeah, because I look at people like you and go, wow, that is incredible. So I think there are many people, but when you come down to, if you want me to mention one person, it's got to be my mum. It's got to be my mum. And my mum has been a foster carer all her life, and that's the values that she instilled in me when I was growing up about caring for the community, addressing social injustice around child abuse and child protection. That was really where my parents were really, started their career. And my mum has been fostering for over 40 years, so it might be nearly 50 years now. Wow. Yes, because I'm just over 50. So it will be, she's been fostering over 50 years. And in the last 20 years, she's been fostering refugees, children.
Wow.
So children who've come into Britain illegally from usually Iraq or Afghanistan, from the Middle East. And she takes them in and she looks after them. And she's been fostering them. And she's been doing that passionately for 20 years and learning. And obviously they're from a different culture. She's a, white British lady. And she welcomes them into her home, and she's done everything. She always does everything to make them feel like they belong, that they're accepted, that they're loved, that they're going to be okay. She takes them to appointments. She teaches them English. She, teaches them cultural issues so they don't get in trouble in England, and but she makes sure they're okay. She teaches them life skills, and just an incredible, passionate woman who has dedicated her life to children who are lost and don't have a family, and she's created that for them. So if I have to mention one person, it's got to be my mum, and I love my mum.
Oh man, what's her name?
Lynn.
Lynn.
And I was loving telling her about you because she was blown away also about you being in Iraq. And she always telling me stories about these kids from Iraq and trying to educate me about what was going on. And, and then, me being able to share with her about what you were doing. And, that's how I became very interested in where you were and me going, whoa. He's taken his family and he's actually there, wow. So.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I hope to, what a wonderful of you to share her story with us. I'm grateful for Lynn. Last question. Why does justice matter? to you?
Wow. Well, because I'm human. I really don't think it's. Let me just start that again. I really think that justice matters to all of us. We just need to acknowledge it. Because even if you work with people who are in business and don't, they're not working in the non-profit sector, when you talk about issues like poverty, trafficking, domestic violence, it cannot but make them go, well, hang on a minute, that's not right. Hang on.
Right.
Well, who's doing what about that? If you look at all of the people who donate to charity and how passionate and compassionate people become when there's a crisis, whether it's a natural disaster, whether it's excuse me, whether it's a natural disaster, whether it's a social issue that's, that people want to help, they want to donate or they want to volunteer. I was just reminded the other day about the pandemic when and all the volunteers that came out. Volunteer in Queensland were overwhelmed with the amount of people that wanted to volunteer and go and help elderly people who couldn't get out because of the pandemic and all of that. And, it just reminds me that at the end of the day, we are all human, and to be human means to care about justice. And we just need to acknowledge it within our personal selves and go, yeah, I actually do care about that. So, yeah, I'm just human.
Thank you, Ruth. What an awesome reminder. Thanks for sticking on for the bonus round. You're amazing.